President Bola Tinubu reiterated his directives to redeploy police officers from very important persons, VIPs, and ministers to strengthen national security. Meanwhile, the Nigerian Senate voiced serious concerns over the withdrawal of the police orderlies attached to senators, fearing it could expose them to danger, especially Senator Abdul Ningi, who has been more vociferous.
President Bola Tinubu says there is no going back on his directive to redeploy police officers from VIPs to national security, insisting that ministers who feel exposed during the course of their duty must seek clearance from him. At the same time, he has set up a multi-ministerial committee to resolve payments owed to federal contractors. These were among the key decisions reached at Wednesday's Federal Executive Council meeting. State House correspondent Adesuwa Moran reports.
It was an unusual scene. Before the Federal Executive Council meeting went behind closed doors, President Bola Tinubu made his position clear, restating an earlier directive that police officers guarding very important personalities and ministers must be redeployed to strengthen national security.
If you have any problem of security because of the nature of your assignment, please contact the IGP and get my clearance.
The president again gives specific instructions to the heads of security and intelligence agencies, review structures, ensure coordination, and arm forest guards where necessary.
The Minister for Interior should liaise with IGP and the civil defense structure to replace those police officers who are on special security duties, so that you don't leave people exposed. NSA and DSS to provide further information and form themselves into a committee and review the structure. It should be effected.
Turning to the Vice President, Tinubu urges him, as chairman of the National Economic Council, to sensitize governors on exercising their constitutional power to help end open grazing and its attendant security consequences.
We must eliminate the possibility of conflicts and turn the livestock reform into economically viable development. The opportunity is there. Let's utilize it. And it is a neck. If we emphasize the constitutional requirement, we see that the land belongs to in the state.
Hours later, ministers emerged with approved memos. But first, the president's displeasure over unpaid contractors.
In the course of the FEC meeting, the president expressed very, very grave displeasure about the fact that contractors are being owed money. He actually said he was upset. And then he set up a committee of about 6 ministers and said he should look into the problems of giving funds, of paying those contractors.
Months of frustration boiled over as contractors have sustained protests outside the Ministry of Finance, many camping for days, saying delays in payments were crippling livelihoods and businesses. And as part of measures to resolve the crisis, the president has set up a multi-ministerial committee comprising the ministers of Finance, Budget and Economic Planning, Works, Education, Housing, Marine and Blue Economy, the Director General of the Budget Office, as well as the chairman of the Nigerian Revenue Service. The council also approved 5 memos from the Ministry of Trade and Investment, including contracts worth over 245 billion naira for 200 electric buses and the Eko Atlantic City headquarters of the Bank of Industry. It also adopted the long-awaited Nigeria industrial policy.
hugest of them all, the last memo on industry, was the approval for the adoption of the Nigerian Industrial Policy 2025. This policy was validated a few months ago, to the general acclaim.
On aviation, the council approved major upgrades to navigational systems and airport infrastructure across Nigeria.
The second, third, and fourth one are infrastructural improvements, real infrastructure in navigation equipment. The president is very, very concerned about improving the navigational aids in Nigeria. He has told me a number of times that he wants Nigerians to fly safely within our airspace.
Nigerians have witnessed directives on security ignored severally in the past, including a presidential redeployment. Today, President Bola Tinubu is reiterating his orders, insisting no going back. But the question remains, can he enforce compliance and resist pressures from VIPs insisting on police protection? Well, the government's ability to turn these decisions into actions will be closely watched. From the presidential villa, Adesua Omoruan, Arise News.
Well, meanwhile, the Nigerian Senate has expressed serious concerns over the withdrawal of police orderlies attached to senators, saying the move could expose members to unnecessary danger. Deputy President of the Senate, Barau Jibrin, disclosed that the leadership of the Senate held an emergency meeting on the issue on Tuesday as it seeks to secure exemption for lawmakers. In a point of order, Senator Abdul Ningi said while he has no issues with the withdrawal, he is disappointed that the directive is being flouted. He wants strict compliance with the directive, starting with the presidency, the office of the vice president, and federal ministers. The Bauchi senator said while his police orderly has been withdrawn, he continues to see some businessmen, including foreigners and celebrity singers, being escorted by contingents of police officers. The Senate mandated its Committee on Police Affairs to investigate the alleged disregard of the directive and file a report within 4 weeks.
This thing should go across the board. It should not be, don't worry, it should be done across the board. Let's see what happens from the office of the president to the vice president, to the Senate President, to the Speaker of the House, to the ministers. Mr. President, I'm coming after they have withdrawn my only orderly. I saw 2 convoys of ministers, and they were carrying lots of security personnel. I have also seen business concern, Chinese and other business concern. Yesterday, with the compliments of orderlies. Mr. President, I have also seen daughters and sons of political office holders having orderlies and having security covers. Mr. President, I have seen singers having orderlies and complementary of protection.
Yesterday, I'm sure you saw us, we had leadership meeting. This was discussed, and we took an action, and we expect the outcome of that action to be available to us today in respect of the police orderlies that were withdrawn from the senators. It's of concern to us, and I will raise the issue, and we're dealing with that, in the formal line, so everything will be done. We're on top of the situation. But in respect of those, the fact that the directive of Mr. President being flouted, where you have the class of persons that he just said, singers, businessmen, and what have you, having policemen. The chairman of the Police Affairs Committee should check up this matter, conduct a proper investigation, and let us know why is the directive of Mr. President being flouted.
Well, in other news, as Nigerians prepare for the end-of-year holidays, air travelers are groaning over the sudden hike in airfares. Arise correspondent Godfrey Eshemoge reports.
Nigeria has witnessed a massive hike in airfares over the past 2 years, driven by rising aviation fuel costs following the removal of petroleum subsidy. Now at the peak of unitary travel, many passengers are lamenting the reality of paying far more to fly. This December, one-way tickets on some routes crossed 300,000 naira, nearly 150% higher than off-season prices.
Considering, like, if you are doing a fast booking, it's usually the rate goes to 300 and above, so it's actually a bit cheaper. It's quite unfortunate. It's due to, they said, due to aviation fuel now, the rate for the aviation fuel is a bit high, so the rate at this festive period is quite expensive. So that's why the rates are like that. But I believe that the government should actually look into it to see how these prices can be subsidized for we, the locals in the country.
I think the authorities have to look at it. I mean, there have to be some form of regulations. And I feel if our roads are safe, a lot of people who want to use the road and actually flying. There are a lot of people that are scared of flying. But I think this is a wake-up call for government to also ensure that our roads are safe. And it's festive season, so people are ready to pay whatever it is for their safety, because it's safety first. If you look at going by the road and God forbid something bad happens, 250 to 250 million, for example.
Air travel, once seen as elitist, has become the fastest option for many Nigerians amid security concerns. But demand this festive season has pushed ticket prices to record highs.
Of course, I would have driven, that's what I used to do, but because of this bandit incident, kidnapping incident, because if they hold you, the 300 and something thousand you will pay won't be anything to so you better cough it out and have your safety than spending the time in the bush. If you are alive, God's on your side, then you spend millions, to see yourself. So that's it.
Arise News took up the situation with the Minister of Aviation.
The industry has long been deregulated. The moment Babangida said private airlines can come in and fly, they deregulated in terms of pricing and all of, just like a free market. And so government has absolutely no powers to fix prices for private enterprise, including the aviation industry.
The major question now is what has suddenly given rise to the over 100% hike in airfares. Godfrey Eshamoge, Arise News.
The Senate, through its Committee on Foreign Affairs, screened more career ambassadorial nominees on Wednesday. Those screened were Ambassador Sulu Gambari Ahmed from Kwara State, Ambassador Ahmed Mohamed Monguno from Borno, and Monica Okuchukwu from Anambra State. Others include Onaga Kingsley, Enugu State, Besto Maimuna Ibrahim Adamawa, and Aminu Nasir, Katsina State. The State Senate also screened non-career ambassador and serving senator from Ondo State, Jimo Ibrahim. He was simply asked to take a bow and go. A career ambassadorial nominee from Ekiti, Adeyemi Emmanuel, was however unable to mention the names of all the 3 senators representing the state.
Permit me, even though in absentia, to recognize my senators, Senator Michael Okpeyemi Bamidele, and Senator Raphael Adeyemi Adaramodu. As you may be aware, today the Ekiti State launched its airport. And so, therefore, my 2 senators are in Ado-Ekiti to participate in that event.
But just for the record, you stated 2 senators. I'd like you to mention the name of your 3rd senator, please.
The Senate leader informed me that I should stand in for him here to confirm, to support the nominee from Ekiti. That is Ambassador Adeyemi Emmanuel. However, it's not too good if you are from Ekiti and you don't know your 3 senators. And to make it worse, you told us you have 2 senators in Ekiti. That's what, excuse me, please. That's what you said.
No.
Please. And I noticed, that's what you said. You said 2 senators on that. And to worsen it, I noticed when your partner was going to show you the third senator. The third senator is Senator Fashui Sire. On behalf of the people of Ekiti and the Southwest, I do seek that we pardon his error. Simple questions. If you don't know, simple things. Say, please, I'm sorry, I don't know this. We don't expect you to know everything. Okay? Just to add that. Thank you.
I wanted to comment on what Dixon just said. It's not about you are not meant to know everything in life. That is fair. No man should know everything in life. But this one you should know. You are coming to represent, or you are nominated from Ekiti State. You are coming to the Senate. You ought to know the 3 senators that represent your state. It's not a frivolity. There is no frivolousness in the question that has been asked. You are going to be a diplomat by the grace of God, if and when cleared. No, as an ambassador. You will be representing Nigeria in the country. You should know this sort of questions at the very least.
Well, a rowdy session on Wednesday erupted in the House of Representatives as lawmakers debated a motion alleging that the Central Bank of Nigeria failed to remit over 5.2 trillion naira in operating surplus and an additional 11 trillion naira in government revenue. Sponsor of the motion, Honorable Bamidele Salam, says fresh findings by the Public Accounts Committee reveal major discrepancies in CBN records, prompting calls for the CBN governor and relevant agencies to appear before the Public Accounts Committee.
It's a very simple issue. If you are not in agreement with a position taken by a member, you reserve the right when the question is put for you to say nay. You are not in support. And the nay will carry if they are the ones on the majority. Do you need to be shouting to get your way? It's not supposed to be so. Please let us stop this. Honorable Marquez said, I'm warning you. If you don't stop this behavior, believe me sincerely, and Honorable Kabir Mepalas will take you to ethics. I do not want to set an example in this house, but you are trying to force me to. If we continue to behave or rule in this house.
Public Account Committee computed the collection from the data supplied by the Central Bank of Nigeria to be 19 billion 834 million 886,731.77, leaving a difference of 11 billion and 98,385,523.19. The fourth category is the missing balance on the take-on Central Bank of Nigeria core system. Further note the discovery of a migration discrepancy amounting to 2 trillion 686 billion 325,119.825 naira being outstanding and payable to the federal government asset recovery account. Concerned that cumulatively, the committee has uncovered that the Central Bank of Nigeria is indebted to the federal government of Nigeria to the tune of over 11 trillion naira, arising from the foregoing infractions and discrepancies. Disturbed that despite several formal communications and invitations extended to the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria by the Public Accounts Committee to appear, provide explanations, and remit the outstanding amount into designated government account, the Central Bank of Nigeria has failed, refused, or neglected to honor the invitations or effect the required remittances as directed by the committee.
I rise to amend the motion ably moved by Honorable Bamidele Salam for the House to resolve to compel the CBN governor, to summon the CBN governor and relevant agencies involved to appear before Committee on Public Accounts unfailingly.
In other news, Governor Ademola Adeleke of Osun State has emerged the 2026 governorship flag bearer of the Accord Party with a pledge not to take confidence reposed in him by the people for granted. The voting began with the accreditation of 5 delegates each from the 30 local government areas of the state and was monitored by officials of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, Inter-Party Advisory Committee, among other election observers. The governor, who is the sole aspirant, was declared the winner, having polled 145 votes out of 150 votes cast by accredited delegates that took part in the primary election. He was subsequently presented with a certificate of return by the national chairman of the party as the flag bearer in the coming Osun 2026 governorship election. In his acceptance speech after the victory, Governor Adeleke pledged not to take for granted the impressive confidence reposed in him by the people of the state and the Accord Party.
I accept my nomination and election as the governorship candidate of the Accord for the 2026 governorship election. I assure you that I will not take it for granted. By God and man, I vow to lead our great party to victory in 2026 by the special grace of God. The Electoral Committee has delivered on its mandate to conduct free, fair, credible, transparent, and acceptable, peaceful governorship primary.
Well, in sports, 11 days to the start of the 2025 Africa Cup of Nations in Morocco, Super Eagles coach Eric Schell is at the center of a tense standoff with the Nigeria Football Federation over unpaid salaries, as he is yet to unveil his final squad for the tournament. The 2025 AFCON will be played from December 21 to January 18, 2026 in Morocco and Nigeria, and the 23 other sides are allowed to select up to 28 players for the 2025 finals. The deadline for naming squads is Thursday, December 11, and the mandatory release date for clubs to make players available is Monday, December 15. Well, these are your news stories. A number of things happening. It's like everything, just towards the end. We have a FEC meeting, police protection, Nigerian industrial policy 2025, ambassadorial list on remitted funds by the CBN, Governor Adeleke being now emerging as the governorship candidate from the Accord Party, and of course AFCON. Today, I believe, is the 11th of December, so today is the deadline.
I just hope they are not going to continue the level of shame that we had by not qualifying for the World Cup. Because this was the same thing that happened before we played Gabon. And we went ahead to play Congo and we couldn't sail through. It is one problem or the other with the NFF. So the question now is, should we have to beg President Tinubu like we literally begged him the last time to make these funds available? Or how are they going to release these funds and trying to be able to avert this damage and this disaster? But you see, with this sort of a scenario, I'm not expecting anything great from the team. I like to cut my expectations according to the threshold of my heart and how I can take heartbreaks. Because I don't want to invest my expectations in this team and I feel hurt. Are you surprised about the ambassadorial list? I mean, these were the things we talked about. An ambassador that wants to represent his country. Take, for instance, which most likely I'm sure he will be passed. And he's in a country representing Nigeria abroad. And a young child from a school in that country says, I want to know more about the state you are from. And please, Ambassador, can you tell us some of the senators in your state? And he gives that child a false and wrong information. And it's not only this nominee from Ekiti State. There are many others like that in that list. That we think the character is phony. The character is despicable. And President Tinubu just made this ambassadorial role a job for the boys. And we've always said it. President Tinubu, enough of all of this paddy-paddy and politicking, because he doesn't bring about competence. We need competence. So is this the bunch of people we waited for 2 years? Then you must be humoring all of us. Because when you look at the list, some green shoots here and there, but pervasively, leaves much to be desired. Very despicable, to say the least, that some quality of persons there will be the ones to represent this our great country. And in fact, it's an indictment on President Tinubu's government. And the joke is on all of us.
Let me know your thoughts in the comments about these concerns and what you think about all this issue. Which one touched you the most? Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to this channel for more updates on Nigerian happening news. Signing out.